I noticed this garage door opposite my garage, half open one day, and I sort of stuck my nose in and I saw the back of a 635 CSR. For f***'s sake. So the first time I'm going to be on the telly and I've got a f***ing Burger King hat on.
Hello, welcome back to the channel. You joined me somewhere in Hertfordshire and behind me is a shed. Not only a shed, it is a shed of dreams that's owned by a good friend of mine, Taylor, who owns the £25 BMW that we're going to have a look at in just a second. Before that, let's introduce Taylor. Was
I supposed to open it when you said it the first time?
This is Taylor, everybody. This is the shed of dreams.
Oh well.
And the first thing that draws my attention and my eye is your Porsche 928 that you've not had very long, have you?
No. So it's a 5-litre dogleg manual and it's a Californian import, so it's left-hand drive.
Wow.
At the moment it doesn't run. Whenever I try and start it, it keeps blowing all the inlet pipes off, vacuum hoses, everything, and backfiring through the inlet. So I can only assume that it's either a fuel starvation issue or a timing issue. Because it's been in such a hot climate, a lot of the interior leathering and panel, it's all just started to deteriorate and it's been baked in the sun.
A bit like my skin.
Yeah.
Old, hard leather.
It's dried, yeah.
Awesome. Well, I've got a 944. As you know. And Taylor keeps on saying, when can I buy that car? Maybe one day I'll give you a little call. Taylor, hold on your end!
And I'll go, I've spent it all on shit.
Speaking of spending money, but definitely not on shit, a reminder that you can get 20% off all Petrol Heart clothing, like the t-shirt I'm wearing now, using code AutoAlex.
Anyway, let's move on to one of my all-time favourite cars, your Fiat Coupe 20-valve turbo. Talk to me.
LE,
all right, it's special, very special.
So when I was 17 and I had my first car, which was that, it's a Mark II Punto. It's only a 1.28 valve, nothing particularly special. This was my dream car. But at the time, couldn't afford the insurance on one. Fast forward however many years, I had an E36, took it down to my body shop one day to get a quote. And the guy that runs the body shop that I use owned this. And he just painted it, decided it wasn't best to daily it, and decided that he really wanted my E36. I held out his hand, but it couldn't have worked out better because this is exactly the spec that I wanted.
Yeah. And it's all running right?
No.
No, of course not. It's a Fiat Coupe 20-valve turbo.
It was, and then the last time I drove it, it developed a exhaust blow from the exhaust manifold.
Yeah.
It's got a slight boost leak from a split hose, which is quite minor. It sometimes chuffs out a little bit of blue smoke, but it is on the original turbo, so I'm thinking maybe get a hybrid. It's got a little bit of an oil leak and a little bit of a water leak.
Oh, it's just sweat.
It's fine, It's self-undersealing.
And everyone knows, probably by now, that I love Fiat Coupe 20-valve turbos. Well, there will also be a Fiat Coupe 20-valve turbo coming on the channel.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've seen it.
I have.
If you have a look on my Instagram, then you'll see that car.
The 540i. A friend of mine rang me up. He said, look, I've been offered an E39 Touring. Do you want to buy it? I went straight down there. Been sat there since 2014. The first thing I noticed was the Alpina front spoiler on it. And then I noticed the BBS split wheels. And then I noticed it had a manual gearbox. And at the time, again, I didn't really know that much about them. Did a bit of research and realised how rare they actually are. The 540i 6-speed manual Touring. I drove it about for a bit, noticed a few issues with it. The rear jacking points were starting to collapse, which is a very common failing on these. And also the rear suspension was very juddery. I decided to take the rear end out, do a full refresh. What I'm doing with this, I'm not putting it back to standard. So it's got a Quaife limited slip diff that I've put in the standard casing.
Yeah.
A full set of polyurethane bushes for the whole rear end.
Look at that.
They're quite meaty. It also needs a new rear tailgate because it's a BMW, so it's rusty.
Anyway, very special car. Let's move on to another very special car, which is one of your latest acquisitions.
Yes.
Another BMW. Sorry, it's BMW spam.
So I've had it for a couple of days. It's a BMW E23735i Auto. This was a car that got offered to me back in 2015. At the time, I couldn't really afford it and I definitely didn't have the space for it because I had the 6 Series and I could only just have the space for that. It got offered to me recently by the guy that I sort of arranged for him to buy. And he said to me, look, I've done nothing with it. It's been in dry storage since the day I picked it up. The plan is to restore it. I've got a BBS front spoiler to put on it, probably lower it slightly. Be a cool car.
It will be. This is like the BMW Holy Halls.
This is a Mini, yeah.
This is a Mini, yeah.
It's quite small.
It's green.
It is green.
It is green.
It's almost like
Taylor
Boston
likes green cars.
I do like green cars, yeah.
I don't care about these, actually, at all.
You can't say
I've actually got no interest in Minis.
Do you know how many people on the telly
Yeah.
like these?
Yeah.
You can't say that.
You can't put my people in a box.
Also, you can't say that you don't like these because, as I found out yesterday, you've never driven one.
No. You want to do a bit of a restoration?
As I like to name it, tart it up.
Tart it up. Show me the trick with the windscreen wipers.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, there you go.
It just pops off, the whole arm.
There you go. So don't bother buying windscreen wiper arms or wipers.
Just find a Mini
Yeah.
and just nick them. Top tip.
Anyway, time now to hear the truly amazing story of how Taylor bought this BMW 635 CSI for only £25.
So back in 2011, I passed my test and I was driving about in my little Punto over there.
Yeah, really cool car that, yeah.
Shut up. When I was 19, I got a council garage for it. Just a little council lock-up, paid for it monthly. I noticed this garage door opposite my garage, half open one day, and I sort of stuck my nose in and I saw the back of a 635 CSI with a mattress on the roof, and 3 of the windows were smashed. Anything that was easily stealable was stolen out of it. I didn't really want anyone else going in there and doing any more damage to it, so I shut the door. It was hanging off of its hinges. It was an old council garage. And I put a few screws through the frame just so that no one else went in there. A year later, I got a letter through from the council saying that I've got a month to get everything out of my garage because they're going to start demolishing them. Planning permission was accepted and they were going to build houses on the side. I didn't really think about this at first, and then it sort of dawned on me. I thought, I wonder what had happened to that car. So I reopened the garage door, got the reg number of the car, and just did a bit of research into how long it was sat there for. Turned out to be 13 years, untaxed, unMOT'd, uninsured. I called the council up and asked them if the garage that it was in had been rented or was currently rented, and they said that no, the garage hadn't been rented for over 10 years.
So that's all lapsed then as well?
So yeah, it hadn't been paid for. It was literally in there, no one was paying for it, left in there, completely forgotten. If the council were to find the vehicle in there and not be able to find the previous owner of the vehicle, they can't sell it on for a profit, and that the likelihood was that it would be destroyed.
Scrapped, yeah.
And I thought it would be a real shame for a car like this to go for scrap, obviously. I decided at that point to apply for a logbook for it, which was 25 quid. When you apply for a logbook, you send off a V62 form. The DVLA try and contact the previous owner to sort of okay it. If they get a response, it's either obviously a yes or no. If they don't hear a response, you will automatically get a logbook in your name.
Top tip.
You've got to do some research.
Yeah,
you can't just go around nicking cars. About 2 or 3 weeks later, I got a logbook through in my name for this car.
Oh,
and I was like, shit, is this actually happening? I went to BMW, my local BMW dealership, gave them my ID, gave them the logbook. Obviously, I didn't have any keys for the car. Gave them my ID, gave them the logbook. I said, can you make me some keys for this car? They said, yeah, no problem, give us 48 hours. It was 17 quid.
Wow.
Went down to the garage after work on a really nice summer's day with a can of petrol and a battery. I'd done all the usual checks. Obviously, the car had been sat for a while, so I disconnected the coil, turned it over a little bit on the battery. It turned free, just got the oil circulating around it. I undone the drain plug on the fuel tank, and weirdly, there was nothing in it at all.
Oh, wow.
So I can only assume that someone had tried to steal the fuel out of it as well.
Yeah.
But there was literally nothing in it, which I thought was a bit strange, but it did me a favour because there was no stale fuel in it. I put the can of petrol in it, turned the key, and it started as if I was to start it now, and idled at 1,000 RPM, and it purred beautifully. It didn't misfire, nothing. And I reversed it out the garage on 4 flat tyres with a mattress on the roof, covered in dust and cobwebs and crap. And I just couldn't believe it. I rung my friend and I was almost in tears. I was jumping with excitement. Now, at this point, I didn't really feel like the car was mine. My main objective was to get it out of the garage before they knocked it down. Now, this was way before GDPR, and the previous owner's address and name was on the bottom of the logbook. So I went round to their house and a lady answered the door, and I said, I'm looking for a chap called Stephen, because that was his name, who used to own the car, regarding a BMW 6 Series. And she sort of stood back a bit. She was a bit nervous. And she said, what is it about? And cut a long story short, she had split up with him. I explained what my intentions were with the car. I said, look, I found the car in the garage. It's being demolished. I took it out of there before they demolished it. And my intentions were to contact him and offer him money for it. She gave me his address. I went around his house quite a few times, probably 4, 5, 6 times to get in contact with him. Nothing.
Yeah.
I wrote a letter. Nothing. At which point I thought, I don't know what to do with it, because I never thought I'd be able to get insurance on it. You know, not being able to insure a Fiat Coupe, a 2 litre. The insurance on my Fiat at the time was 1,500 quid. I thought, let me just try and get it roadworthy. So I put a new set of tyres on it, put a new set of springs on it because one of the springs was broken, serviced it, put a new stereo in it, just got it so it was roadworthy. There was just something in my head said to me, why don't I ring up and see if I can get an insurance quote on it? And they went, yeah, we can insure you on it, 600 quid.
Fuck off.
I was like, half the price of my 1.2 Fiat. At that point, I was like, right, I'm going to book 2 weeks off work. I was just about to MOT it, and I went to pull it out of the garage, and it lost drive. It was an auto.
Oh, you've swapped it as well?
Yes, I have, yeah. It was an auto. It lost drive, but it would go into reverse. Phoned around a few places. They were like, yeah, it's 1,500 quid, gearbox rebuild. I couldn't afford that at the time. I thought there's no way. Rung up a really handy guy called Pat at Cook's Ferry. He knew everything about them. Every single nut and bolt he knew about them. And he said, yeah, it's the A clutch pack in the front of the gearbox. Take the gearbox down to me. Bring it over, I'll do it for 120 quid. So I got the gearbox out, drove it down to him. He put a new clutch pack in the front of it, brought it back, stuck it back in, fresh fluid, fresh filters, everything in it. Started it up, it drove perfectly, put it on the MOT ramp, and I MOT'd it that night.
Nice.
And the first time I drove it, it was just ear to ear smiling. I couldn't help myself. I don't remember a lot of things because I've got a really bad memory, but that week of driving this, I will never forget. I remember every minute of it.
Oh, that's so cool.
And yeah, I've loved and cherished it ever since.
Amazing. So how long have you had this now?
I've had it 8 years.
Nice. Okay. Let's, in those 8 years, you've obviously done quite a lot of work, right?
Yes.
So let's have a quick walk around and talk to me. Shall we start from front to back?
Yeah, sure. So I've replaced the 2 front chrome corner pieces on the bumper.
Yeah.
Because they were rusty here. Mm-hmm. They were really hard to find. You can't get them re-chrome once they've got a hole in them because it just destroys the metal when you put them in the chromers. Yeah. I've replaced both the front wings. They're really common for rusting. I've had the whole car painted. I rebuilt the wheels myself. I bought those off of a friend of mine. They were aerosol blue on an E36 compact drifter.
Oh my God.
I had the centres powder coated, and I remember I was polishing the lips in my bedroom, and I had all the bolts laid out, and I had a drill with a polishing bit on the end of it, and I had metal polish all up my wardrobe doors.
Oh wow.
And my mum walked in my bedroom and she just went, I'm not even going to ask. And just shut the door. All the trims and chrome, apart from the corner bumper pieces, are original.
Oh wow.
So all the door trims are original, all the bits around here are original. I replaced the 3 rear windows because they were smashed when it was in the garage.
Yeah.
So these aren't original, but they're the correct colour tint for the car because you can get these with different coloured tints from factory. Interior wise, it came with sport seats, and I always wanted a set of Recaro seats. These are factory 6 Series E24 Recaro seats. They're an optional extra. They probably took me the best part of 3.5 years to find. And they were black, so I had them fully retrimmed. I did used to have a wooden Nardi steering wheel in it, and I got a little bit bored of it after a while because it was quite big and quite thin, and it felt like I was driving a boat. So I actually came across that. A mate of mine had it in the back of a Luton Transit, and I was like, what are you doing with that? And he was like, you can have it for 50 quid if you want. And I was like, all right. Because I like steering wheels. I don't know why, I've got a bit of a collection of them. A bit weird.
Because you like the leather, don't you?
Right. So, yeah, sure.
What? And the manual gearbox?
Manual gearbox.
When did that come about?
So I must have had it for probably 3 or 4 years as an auto. And after I had the A clutch pack put in it, it was okay. And then after a little while, it did start playing up again. It was a little bit jumpy into gears. And I know that these cars are really rare as manuals. Mm-hmm. They didn't make a lot of them at all. And I always wanted a manual. I just really wanted to manual swap it. But I wanted to do it properly. I went to the Ace Cafe one day to a shark nose meet. Yeah. And I got chatting to a really nice guy. And I was talking to him about the gearbox. And he said, I used to have a manual one of these. It rotted away and I broke it for spares. I said, I'd really like to manual swap this. He was like, I've got a full manual swap at home in my garage. And I was like, well, out of interest, would you sell it all? And he was like, yeah, probably. Like, he said, I've got the gearbox, prop shaft, clutch, pedal box, slave, master cylinder, the reservoir, the whole lot, all original 6 Series. And that was exactly what I wanted. I didn't want to put like a 330D gearbox in it with an adapter or anything like that. I wanted it all factory. He messaged me a couple of days later. He said, yeah, you can have it for 500 quid for the whole lot. I was like, I love that. I do like a bargain.
You do like a bargain.
I do like a bargain, yeah.
Indeed.
So I bought that, manual swapped it. It was a really easy job, all bolt-on stuff, no fabrication needed, which is what I wanted, because I didn't want to change this car in any way that wasn't reversible.
Yeah.
I've kept all the original parts for it as well. I feel like with this car, the way that I got it, I feel like it was meant to happen. It's gained me a lot of friends, I've met a lot of people through it, and I've had a lot of great memories in it. And I think that is one of the most important things about owning a car.
Absolutely. Yeah!
Does it suit me?
Oh, that is good. That is nice. That is
Is it
right
nice?
nice, yeah. What does this car mean to you?
Everything. Absolutely everything. It's always made me smile, it's always made me happy. Even when I feel, you know, I've felt really down in the past, and I've always gone to this.
Yeah.
This
Does it
car-
make you feel like a bit of a king?
Yeah.
Yeah! There you go. There you go, Taylor. Have you ever been tempted to do an engine swap?
I did think about the M...
57 diesel, yeah.
Yeah, I really like the M30 engine. It gives a nice power delivery, it's got a nice amount of mid-range torque, it sounds the part. The only thing is, I feel like it's a bit restricted by standard things, like the standard exhaust manifold is very restrictive. So I would, in the future, be tempted to fit tubular exhaust manifolds and potentially a different inlet, maybe throttle body, something like that.
Yeah? Oh, it's got to be done.
Make a good noise.
I think we all want to see that. Yeah.
I love every single time I drive it.
Oh, amazing.
Absolutely
Yeah,
love it
that's
to
so
bits.
cool.
Whenever I sort of picture the future, I always picture this car as part of it.
Oh, that's nice. Would it be all right if I had a little go?
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah?
Have a little go.
Yeah, we'll have a little go.
Yeah, do you want to have a little go?
We'll call it a test drive.
I mean, you're not buying it. They say that everything has a price.
It does,
but not
yeah.
in this case.
Okay. Oh, it sounds so good. When I was sitting in the passenger seat, I couldn't hear the intake noise as much as now. I feel like it's really plumbed into my ears. Like you said, it's a car you get in, you drive it, and you're instantly happy.
Yeah.
Because there is no assistance to anything. Every input you do has a consequence, right?
Yeah.
And you feel everything underneath you. Feels good, and it's just such a pleasure to change gear and just to feel everything. Everything is so mechanical, nice and heavy, and it's just really rewarding. Oh, it's lovely, Taylor.
Do you like it?
I think this is probably the best £25 that any petrol head could ever spend.
Do you reckon it was worth the money?
Oh, I think so, yeah. With inflation, you're probably doing all right. Beautiful. Well, thank you very much for letting me drive.
That's all right,
your Pride
mate.
and Joy. I really, really appreciate it.
I mean, I would...
Alright.
Right, seeing as it's an 80s BMW, flat dash, liner gear.
Yeah, oh, yeah, let's do it.
Oh, yeah.
We're still rolling. I hope you've enjoyed looking at Taylor's tat. £25. I'll give you 50 quid. Hold that, your hand.
I'll date around.
Job done. Taylor, any final words of encouragement for the lovely audience?
Yeah, don't do what I did. You might get in trouble.
Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Make sure you subscribe to the channel because we've got some cool stuff coming up. We're going to be doing some stuff together soon, actually.
Yeah.
But the next video that you'll see next week is more Project MX-5, which you're looking forward to, and so am I. Anyway, have a great weekend. Goodbye. Oh, and shop stuff as well. Link somewhere. Goodbye. Transition! Come here!